Have you ever done something you're 100% confident in? Like studying hard for a test you knew you would succeed in, or even working hard for something you truly believed you deserved, only for it not to go the way expected? Well, yes, I have, more than once, and trust me, almost every time it happened, I felt this hollow emptiness sink deep into my stomach. Once, I remember applying for an exchange program organization where they were looking for new members to join the organizing team. And the moment I saw the application form, something inside me lit up. I started researching, and while reading the information, my excitement grew stronger. It wasn't just a random opportunity anymore. It felt personal. My skills, my experiences, my abilities, everything matched perfectly what they were looking for. So I gave it my best. I didn't just fill it out though. I put myself into it, choosing every single word carefully, tried to show them exactly who I was and what I could do. And before I even clicked submit, I had already lived that moment in my mind. I could already see the acceptance message and feel the excitement rushing through me. It all felt so vivid, so real, as if it already belonged to me. But I didn't. It didn't happen. I wasn't chosen. My heart sank and my hopes were crushed. Everything that I had hoped for suddenly disappeared, leaving me with intense anxiety and hopelessness. My confidence also went down, and I kept asking myself, did I do anything wrong? Was I worthless? Was I that much bad? But later, I realized something very important. That rejection didn't close the door for me. It redirected me to doing something else, something that actually suited me better. Now, let me explain. At first, I didn't understand why it kept happening so often. I thought that if I did everything right, things would work out as I wanted to. My thoughts were literally eating me from the inside. But then, after so much overthinking, I suddenly discovered a new thing that I had started my journey at Mount Everest. I wanted to reach professionalism, but it was too early and I knew I lacked experience. I was so obsessed with it that I kept looking at photos of those who had made it. And that's when it hit me. They were much more older than me, far more experienced. Maybe I was more enthusiastic than others. Who knows? But I knew that they had years behind them that I didn't yet have. Maybe I wasn't even bad, but I knew that they were better. My experience perfectly matches with William Shakespeare's quote: expectation is the root of all heartache. In other words, the more we expect something to happen, the more attached and obsessed we become to it. Expectation is like a comfort zone, and reality is a barrier, which us, humans, are too scared to overcome. We convince ourselves that success is guaranteed, and when things don't meet our expectations, it hurts. Sometimes enough to make us lose motivation, confidence, or even hope. That realization kind of changed something in me. So, after months of passive efforts, I shifted my approach and started doing smaller and more achievable steps. And the results were like this: rejection, and acceptance, acceptance, and acceptance. Yes, my acceptance rate got higher. But somewhere along the way, it was not my old self anymore. I had become someone who had actually accomplished their goals. I felt reborn. From this experience, I've personally learned an essential thing. Disappointment is not something to fear, it is something necessary. Whenever things didn't go as I wanted to, I would have lose motivation, even in the things that I was actually doing well. But in the end, I came to understand that it helped me overcome my fears and actually learn more about myself. We've all had a moment in our lives when we told a friend a secret, right? Trusting them and believing that they will keep them safe. But after some time, you started questioning yourself. Oh my God, why do others know about this too? I know, it hurts. And sometimes it doesn't only feel like disappointment, but also betrayal. And even though we can't take those words back, we're left dealing with the consequences. But don't take this as a life tragedy because even that kind of pain can teach us something about ourselves. People trust and give us more experience that we need. So, main question: how do we deal with disappointment? Well, the answer might be easier than we think. You can't really change that moment of being embarrassed or the feeling of being worthless. So instead of letting it consume you, why not learn something from it? Instead of running from it, why not understand it fully? That is how I went through my journey. I didn't let failure defeat me. I learned how to get back up and keep going. I discovered new ways, made mistakes, grew from the experience, and moved forward stronger. Life has a way of kind of redirecting us, removing things that don't belong and making space for what does. And even if it doesn't feel like it in a moment, this moment is actually alive, guiding you towards something better, something that suits you better. We may think that it is hard, but trust me, it's just new. I'm currently an active volunteer, organizer, and leader for many projects. So if I could go from rejection to this, so can everyone. Because in the end, disappointment is not the end, it's the beginning. Thank you.